What I will present here and in the coming segments is a guess at the kind of processing that became possible in our species with the emergence of a new cognitive architecture rooted ultimately in changes in neural circuitry. I'll argue that our minds and neural processing became demodularized, but to make sense of that idea, we first have to discuss mental modularity. I think the idea of the breakdown of modularity in our minds will make sense once we tackle the idea of modularity. Think of the human body. It has many organs. There are kidneys for cleaning the blood, the heart for pumping the blood, the lungs for obtaining oxygen, and so forth. Why don't we just have one master organ that can do it all? Namely, one that could pump blood and clean blood and oxygenate the blood all at once. Wouldn't that be more efficient than having so many separate organs? Well, no. If we had such an everything organ, it would likely be worse at any one of the tasks it had to do. Why? Because cleaning the blood would likely interfere with pumping the blood, and so on. So it makes sense to have specialization. If the kidneys can focus on cleaning the blood and the heart can focus on pumping the blood, then those modules can do their jobs very efficiently without interference from the execution of irrelevant tasks. This is the same reason we go to a cardiologist if we have heart problems and not to a dentist. And we go to the dentist if we have teeth problems and not to a cardiologist. By specializing, specialists can become really good at the one thing that they must do over and over. Many thinkers have argued that there are something like mental organs that specialize in one type of neural processing. The idea of mental modularity began with a pseudo-scientific theory of phrenology, which posited all kinds of weird specializations associated with particular lumps on the head, such as an area for spirituality or an area for hopefulness. Even though phrenology has been relegated to the dustbin of bad and foolish ideas, the idea of mental modularity has stuck around. The core idea is that specialized circuits allow the brain to be a sort of Swiss Army knife with specialized processors to solve specialized problems. The philosopher Jerry Fodor argued that such dedicated modular processors would be fast, dedicated to a specialized problem type, work in parallel, and exist relatively encapsulated or cut off from one another. But even he acknowledged that there are other processes that appear to have the opposite of the properties common to such modules. For example, some processes such as conscious reasoning, or working on things in working memory, or paying attention, appear to operate serially rather than in parallel, appear to be general purpose rather than specialized or dedicated, appear to be slow rather than fast, and appear not to be encapsulated. So while there certainly is a good degree of mental modularity, our brains are not exclusively modular in their processing. Even though volitional attention is a kind of modular process, it can be allocated to anything you are or can be conscious of. You can shift your attention serially to your feet, to the sound of a bird, and then to a thought about what to make for dinner. So volitional or endogenous attention is a generalist and plays a role in many kinds of processing. I would like to suggest that it was changes in the neural circuitry underlying volitional attention and volitional manipulation of operands in working memory that really changed in our lineage, and that these changes led to our kinds of artistic and symbolic minds. And I would like to suggest that it is changes in this circuitry in particular that afforded us a freer free will than that available to, say, a chimp, and which gave us specifically the capacity to imagine almost anything, and in particular, to imagine ourselves as being a new kind of person. I believe that changes in the circuitry associated with volitional attention and the volitional manipulation of operands and working memory afforded us the capacity to transform ourselves through effort and over long spans of practice into new kinds of choosers who have, unlike all other animals, a second-order free will or a meta-free will.